College football will be loaded with talented pass rushers this upcoming season, but Louisville's Clev Lubin has a chance to be the biggest breakout star of the 26th season. Luben's college career has bounced all over. After initially committing to Army out of high school in 2022, Luben transferred to Iowa Western, where he won an NJCAA national title. From there, Luben moved to Coastal Carolina in 2024, earning first-team All-Sun Belt honors before transferring to Louisville last offseason. Despite playing for so many schools, Luben has been productive at every stop he's seen playing time, including 18 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, and 110 pressures over the past 2 seasons with the Cardinals and Chanticleers. That consistent production, along with his film, is helping Luben already gain some momentum as a legitimate prospect ahead of the 2027 NFL Draft. A breakout campaign this season could solidify Luben's status as a first-round prospect, and we'll show you why that could be the case by diving into a couple of his games from last season in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube if you're not already, and give us a follow on socials at BestAvailableYT. As always, a huge thank you to our members who continue to support us. If you would like to become a member and get full access to my NFL Draft Big Board in real time as it's being updated, we are at 51 prospects after watching Luben, but just $2.99 a month, you get full access to that, and it is a live document that you will see constantly being updated with grades, rankings, notes, and it is just a great way to support this channel as well as we continue to grow. So again, thank you to all of our members who continue to support us. I'll leave details to becoming a member in the episode description, but let's go ahead and dive into Luben, who has quickly become one of my favorite prospects in this draft class. Some things are going to immediately stand out when you watch Luben, number 50 for the Louisville Cardinals. This is a twitched up guy. He's a little sawed off. He's just got an odd frame, and it's pretty compact, and I believe he's over this offseason gone from 250 to 260, so he's definitely a little bulkier now. But he is twitched up. He's a very, masterful artist as far as a pass rusher, or a technician, I should say, as far as a pass rusher. And then he's also just, crazy competitive. And I think this is a good example of it to start off. We're going to see some of that burst and bend around the edge from Luben. For those you don't know, when I talk about bend, or when any draft analyst talks about bend, we're talking about tightening that path, using your flexible ankles, getting low, and instead of going around here to get to the quarterback, we can tighten that angle and get low and really bend it. You see it, it when you see it. You think of the Von Millers of the world, and Luben has some of that. He is more of a power rusher with effort, but this is a great example of kind of blending those two things. We're going to see him fly off the edge here. We're going to see that first step real quick. Look how quickly he's already out of stance. This is what, second step, third step. We're just now getting our kick step. Like, this tackle's first foot to gain depth has not even, touched the ground yet. And Luben's already, full stride. Look how low, compact, explosive he is out of that stance. He's going to get an arm to get extended, engage with the blocker. He's going to try and rip under that. And then he is getting, good angle, real bend. I mean, look at how not deep, the lack of depth here. Like, he's not getting pushed around the pocket by the blocker. He's tightened his path. He is now at a straight on angle with the quarterback, and he is in front of him. That's a crazy angle to take while getting engaged. And then what I love is just the effort to try and finish this play. Luckily the rest of Louisville's pass rush ends up getting in here as well, but I just love the fact hey, he is latched on. You did a lot and just weren't able to cleanly disengage, and he's still working his way to the quarterback with maximum effort all the way to the end. He's still trying to get a hand on him from this point, and I really admire the effort from a guy like Luben, man. He is just so twitchy, and then he's just kind of relentless once that ball is snapped. The effort here to really try and fight through that is awfully impressive. The way he can tighten that angle, the fact that he's forcing this tackle to turn already, and typically when a tackle's turned like this, they just want to kind of ride your momentum behind the quarterback, get you around the pocket, so that they can be a natural shield, keep a clean pocket around the quarterback. But that angle is just so tight that it really ruins a lot of those pass rush plans. And like I said, rest of Louisville's defense ends up cleaning this up. But this was a first play. I was love the high effort. I love that he's not, wilting as soon as he makes contact with a blocker, just keeps fighting through that play. I think that's a good first impression of how to describe Clev Lubin as a pass rusher. I also just really enjoy that Luben's not a one-note pass rusher. He's not just going to win with speed around the edge. He's not just going to bull rush you. He's not going to just slant inside. He can do a little of everything, including that agility to slant inside. You're going to see him just plant a foot on this play. Watch him just plant off that and then drive through, then make himself skinny, ends up getting a hand on the quarterback. Right now we're getting close. We're not, finishing these plays, but this is a good example of just that skill set, the burst and the lateral agility. When you're not ready to pick him up on a stunt, and got to give Louisville's defensive staff credit, they did a nice job these 2 games I watched of finding ways to get Luben all over the line and catch offensive linemen off guard. Because here the value of a twist or a stunt you can see almost textbook here. So this interior D lineman's entire job is to just slant out this way, try and draw the eyes of this guard so that when we slant over, this guard is not expecting it. And I think we do a pretty good job of that, because you can see as we slant here, he's just trying to get fat, get in the way, holds the guard's eyes start following that twist. We have the stunt coming in, and then we have that gap. And I'll give the center credit; he's got heads up on it, and he's prepared for that to happen. But Luben understands, if this guy's not watching, I'm just going to go right off his butt and try and split this space to get to the quarterback. And I just appreciate the agility and burst that he combines here with a nice little stunt. Helps him get to the quarterback. We're keeping the offensive line guessing, and we just can really see that agility combined with that explosiveness on this play for Luben. Another thing I really enjoy with this pass rusher, you wouldn't think that extension is a big part of his game, because again, I've seen some crazy long edge rushers, and I don't know if he's going to have the length that scouts are going to covet, which may hurt his draft status a little bit. But he still plays with really good extension, even as a pass rusher, and this is a good example of a long arm here. We're going to see off the edge. He's just going to, look at him stab at that. He manages to get his hands inside, fit them exactly where he needs to, and the tackle ends up, not being able to control this point of attack. We've got a forward lean. We're trying to get that hand above our eyes to maximize our leverage, and then we're just going to drive these feet. And then just watch how he keeps doing that. Disengages once this tackle is behind the quarterback, reads the quarterback, ends up getting the sack here, all because of a really nice long arm, which I really appreciate those. I usually expect them to come from the guys with, rare frames that can do this stuff, or like a 270-pound edge. We're talking about a guy that at the time was only 250 and still pulling off stuff like this. And the fact that, we showed the burst and bend, we showed the agility, and then he's throwing this at you, you're just kind of guessing all day, because he can really mix up his pass rush plan against you. Another thing I just really, really appreciate with this kid is his instincts. He does a great job, even when engaged as a pass rusher, of reading the field, reading what's going on, whether it's snuffing out a screen, reading a draw, anything like that. And this is a good example. We're going to just try and run a swing pass with this running back. And it looks like from this coverage responsibility, it might be a situation where if he stays into, pass block, we're going to rush. And if he leaks out, based on what direction he goes, the end man's going to take him in man. That's my guess of what's happening here. But still, nice instincts from Luben, because he's going to get engaged as a pass rusher here on this, swing pass, and then quickly go, oh, wait, I know immediately what's happening here, because this tackle jumped out at me instead of setting for a pass, so something else must be going on. He sees the quarterback's eyes. He can get a feel for this guy leaking out and just quickly reacts to it, and then hustles his way down there. Nice hawk and roll technique where you're grabbing at those hamstrings and using your gravity to kind of just take him down, let gravity run its course. Everything about this play is really technically sound, good discipline, good instincts. He's like, hey, yeah, you should know if the tackle's coming out to block you like this, it ain't no pass play, or at least not a developed pass play. We're just trying to quickly get the ball out here in space. He just reads that really well. And then that's one thing you'll see constantly. He hustles his tail off. Really legit play speed in pursuit, along with that effort. I can get so sick of an edge, oh, the ball's out, let me just jog to the ball carrier. No, Luben's going to go hunt you down, even if it's across the field. This is a pretty cool personnel group. I'm imagining it's either an obvious passing down, third down. I apologize, I did not write it down, but we've got 3 edges here and then a down lineman. A guy with length. This might be another edge. I'm not too familiar with Louisville's entire roster, but We're just going to run another game with Luben this time lined up on an interior, kind of like a mugged up look, like an off-ball linebacker walked up. That's kind of what we're seeing from Luben here. And he's just going to try and get skinny here, and we're going to loop around here. But Luben is so good at getting skinny in this gap that he ends up just leaking through. You can see him again, explosiveness off the or off the snap. He's going to take there. He's going to make himself skinny. He's only going to show one shoulder to this blocker. And I believe this is Jalen Farmer, who was a legit prospect in last year's draft. Like, for all of Kentucky's faults last year, the O-line, not too bad. They had Jagger Burton and Jalen Farmer on this roster. But, we're going to see tries to get skinny and not give his whole chest to this tackle. He's going to try and kind of get in the way of this tackle as we loop around, which should work because the guard's fully turned, worried about him, and we can, sneak in behind him. But then Luben just does a great job of somehow fitting through there because he's so fast, so relentless, able to only show, again, you saw that as he engaged, he tried to turn and hide his chest to get latched onto, and that allows him to get skinny. And then obviously he finishes the play because that effort, man. Again, he's kind of like a chained up pit bull. And I mean that in no disrespectful way. I mean that in the ultimate compliment kind of way. His motor is white hot. And he is always trying to find the ball carrier. And it's really fun to watch. Plays like this, man, you're really just supposed to be setting up the other guy to get in. But when you can get skinny and create a pressure that quickly, that's an even bigger win that we're not usually expecting, when we're playing games up front. There's no denying that Luben is an older prospect. He started his college career in 2022. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be his 5th year. And that is just kind of the reality of today's football. So he's an older pass rusher. But if you're going to be an older pass rusher, I think Akeem Mesidor is a good example of this. You better have the hand usage already ready. You better be a polished prospect, or at least as close to it as possible. And I think Luben absolutely is, as far as hand usage and disengaging. It's just another wrinkle to his pass rush arsenal. And we've seen so many different ways that he can be effective as a pass rusher. This is a damn good example of it. I love right here. He's going to just swipe away that hand. He sees, this guy's lunging early. His hand's already out there. So he's a little overextended over those toes. The feet are too close apart or too close together. We're leaning forward trying to strike at this. As soon as he strikes, the quickness you can see, attack that outside hand, swipe it away. Just get him away from your chest. You can see he's trying to reset his hands now. Nice swipe. We've successfully swiped away, prevented that chest from getting engaged. And by the time that we've done that, now we have a pretty clean path to the quarterback who has to just get that ball away quickly. Impressive throw, impressive catch. I know it's probably a designed quick game. Quarterbacks at this point rattled. Watching this whole game, I'm not showing you the whole game. This quarterback was under duress so much by Luben and the rest of Louisville's defense. This quick pass shouldn't be drifting this way to throw it because he's drifting right into pressure. He's hurting his offensive lines. Ability to block for him because they're expecting him to be right here, and we starts drifting over this way, and the defense naturally starts following. All of a sudden, all your linemen are out of position, and it gives up easier angles, like Luben admittedly right here, to generate pressure. But that's not why I wanted to show this video or this clip specifically. It was that hand usage. If you just watch it in one motion from the left side of the screen, Luben's ability to disengage right there. Just swipe off those hands so easily. Again, it's just another part of his pass rush arsenal. And we've shown so many of this. Is just one game. I can't imagine being an offensive lineman prepping for him, just not knowing what plane of attack he's going to give you on a given play. If I had to show just one play of why I'm so fascinated with Luben, it's got to be this one to wrap up the Kentucky game. He's going to try and bend around the edge, right? But it's not going to be perfect. But that's not why I'm showing it. I don't want to show an imperfect edge. But see, we're going to try and bend around there. Did you notice what I just saw? Because I marked this down as one of the most impressive plays I watched. He gets low. The angle is great. Look how low he is to the ground trying to bend around that edge. But when he realizes it's not there, he's still just taking on one shoulder against a blocker. Watch him generate push. This should not be a bull rush angle. He is trying to win around the outside, but somehow turns that momentum into going through the offensive lineman. And just look at that push he generates. I don't see that often. Usually if you don't win your bend, your attempt at bending around the edge, The blocker is going to toss you into the dirt. You're going to get way too wide or way too behind the quarterback. But in this instance, his ability to tighten the angle by just running through a guy, it, that that's a crazy play to me. If you watch enough football, you do not see this a lot. You do not see a guy trying to turn his head. Like, speed with power is one thing, but bend to power, I don't know if I've seen often. And boy, was that effective. It is utterly fascinating. That pressure ends up resulting in I think that's an interception. I didn't end up watching to see if it was. That felt like an interception, but to generate a bad throw like that, and just again, how do you create a bull rush out of this bend attempt? That is crazy to me. I already mentioned how much I enjoyed Luben's hustle and motor, and we're moving on to the Boca Raton Bowl against Toledo, and this first play I think is a good example of that. We got him on the left side of the screen. We're just gonna try and roll out away from him, and we're even gonna keep an eye on him as we do this, and it's not gonna matter. You're gonna see the hustle from the left side of the screen as soon as we run this, jet motion roll out. Luben right here is just gonna start sprinting down that line. And, Toledo's prepared for it. They're like, all right, our guard is going to, circle back if he's clear. Whatever lineman's clear, we're going to circle back and try and just take him out of the play because we know he wants to backside pursue. But he's got so much momentum with him. Just watch him throw that guard off of him. Just toss him out of the club and then continue to pursue. And then ends up getting a play on here. Forces the fumble as well. Can you get much better motor than that? That is one of my favorite plays that we'll show today. It's one I would show my kids on the high school team when I'm coaching. Like, listen, you may think you're out of a play, but if you have that mindset, you are going to be out of the play. If you act like every play is yours to make, this is when stuff happens. Not only is he pursuing backside, not only is there a blocker that's prepared to, stop him, he does not care. He's going to toss that guy out of the club, force the fumble, make a huge play in a bowl game for your team. I admire the effort. I think that's everything I want in a football player, regardless of position. Are you going to hustle your ass off to make a play for your team, even when you think initially that you might be out of it? One of the more underrated parts of Luben's game is understanding, pass rush contain, even when it's not a true contain, just understanding like, hey, there's no value in me, especially against mobile quarterbacks, getting behind the quarterback. There's no value into me over pursuing inside if that's not my assignment. I need to hold that edge. I can't get too deep. We need to be prepared if he scrambles and steps up to take him. And I think Luben just fundamentally understands that with how much football he's played at so many different levels in his career. So we've got that two tight end look to his side. They're going to go out and route. So now we're up against that right tackle. He's going to swipe away. Nice, great job swiping away that arm. You can see that guy just completely loses the ability to strike there. And then he's just going to stay patient because he's just like, hey, I know if I go out this way, our other rushers slanted inside. Look at how much space he has right now. We know this is a mobile quarterback. We know he's going to want to step up. So if I go out here, shoot, man, that rushing lane gets like the Red Sea. We don't want that, especially if this blocker reacts and starts climbing. I mean, it could be a touchdown, right? He climbs here, we overextend. The only guy maybe getting here is that safety, and at that point, it might be too late. We don't want that. So you can see Luben's reacting to that and processing in real time. Like, I think he's stepping up. So then as soon as he feels that step up, he's going to attack upfield and make that tackle before anything dangerous can happen. These are the kind of instincts you need to have. Like, I get it. As a pass rusher, you're really excited to get to the quarterback. You're excited to throw a move down. You're excited to just make some kind of play, to get your stats up, right? But there's also a time where you need to understand, like, if I don't stay disciplined on this, the play could be a lot worse. And then we're, running the ball more instead of, having a failure on offense and forcing them to more obvious passing down situations. I'm not going to say run defense is a weakness for Luben, but I am curious to see how much it improves. Added those 10 pounds over the offseason, it sounds like up to 260. How is he going to engage with blockers? How is he going to constrict rushing lanes? Because there are flashes of it, including in this game. Granted, it is against a tight end, but what I love is he is able to get low. He does a great job against blockers, getting extended. It's something that consistently shows up. You can see him create that separation between himself and the tight end by using that extension. And then he's just going to prevent, this rushing lane from developing. He's not going to get kicked out. He's going to He's really barely moved here. He's now in traffic because he just refuses to get displaced by a tight end, ends up helping on a huge tackle for loss. All because with a tight end engaging or blocking on this one, the rule is that if this is outside zone, which it looks like, we're reading off the end foot of that tight end and then reacting off any block or rushing lane that develops on this side. But because Luben just engages so well with that tight end, this might have been a rushing lane at one point, but we're just going to anchor down and not let him displace us. Suddenly, this path gets so muddy. There's 3 blockers on 3 defenders. We've got guys spilling over. 34s now in the backfield too, so like we can't really cut back this way. That kind of anchor. That's why edge setting matters so much in the run game, because let's just say that Luben instead gets washed down this way. We're going to allow this tackle to climb into space. We're going to have some kind of rush lane either here or here. That's why we have to set the edge. It just makes those rush lanes, muddy, unable to sneak through. It's a really valuable trait, and we talk about it every time we talk about an edge player on this channel. Run defense matters so much more than we're talking about. I thought this was a fun wrinkle that Louisville added to their pass rush plan. Just another way to get, stress on an offensive line and get pass protections right. We're going to start with an off-ball linebacker here and Luben here on the edge. And then right before the snap, he's just going to kind of drift inside. And then this linebacker is going to replace him on the edge. And it doesn't do a whole lot, you would think, because, technically the numbers are the same, but it's forcing those blockers to think right before the ball is snapped, like, okay, suddenly our responsibilities have changed very quickly, and I need to process that information. Nice little wrinkle, because now we technically have him on the inside. Yes, he's going to be taking on a tackle here, but now he's going from depth because, he wasn't, lined up wide, trying to take an angle. He's, a little bit off the ball, charging head on against this tackle. And then he's just going to get those hands, try to get those hands above those eyes, forward lean, leg drive, gets extended, just completely collapses the pocket. I really enjoyed this. It's just another example of ways. Again, I have to give credit to Louisville's defensive staff for just being creative with little stuff like this. Just any opportunity we can have to get Luben involved in just different ways as a pass rusher, because clearly it works, man. What they figured out, how to utilize this guy, just kept working for them, and they deserve a ton of credit for that. And it really helped Luben maximize his production last season. We've talked a lot about Luben having a pass rush plan. That is a tongue twister for me for some reason. But a pass rush plan every rep, and how he can go, slant inside, bull rush, speed rush, hand usage, all of that. But there are definitely times where you need to be more reactionary as a pass rusher. This is a good example. We're going to try and jump set him. And when I say jump set, the offensive tackle is going to actually try and meet him and tighten that angle to quickly force the issue on Luben. And, he's going to react to this quite nicely. So you see that jump set, he's getting out to him. Luben might have had a different plan of attack on this. Like if he's expecting more of a vertical set where this tackle is focused on getting depth, maybe he's trying to win, with bend, through the chest, any of that. But as he reacts, this is, terrible technique. He's crossing his feet. His base is so narrow. This tackle's going to get crossed up. Because as soon as he plants on that outside foot, we're just going to cut inside off of him pretty easily. And I think he gets hooked here, in my opinion. I slowed it down a few times. Feels like as soon as that guy got beat, he's just going to hook around to prevent, a clean rush. Did not get called, but this is the kind of stuff we want. We want a reactionary pass rusher at times. Like, hey, he's throwing us a different pass set. He's trying to meet us out here. Let's use that against him. And just kind of, it's almost like a crossover, right? And then he definitely gets hooked. The more I watch it, definitely gets hooked here. But I love the instincts and, post-snap processing to quickly react to what that guy's trying to do and then just, counter it on the fly. Also, hell of a throw by that quarterback. Really rifled that one in there. But I appreciated the pass rush set. We talked about all the ways that you can plan attack, but when you react like this as well, man, it's just another, it's just another feather in your cap. This guy's play strength just really needs to be appreciated. You can just kind of see his butt. He's in front of, I think that's number 7 right there. That play strength is a real weapon of his, man. Just really enjoy it every time I watch it. He's going to get that speed. He's going to engage. He's just going to toss that tackle off of him, and he's going to get to the ball carrier. The effort there is outrageous. Just another example of his competitive toughness, but also just the actual toughness, the physical toughness, the upper body play strength. I think the lower body against the run is not bad. I think it's totally fine, average. But the upper body strength is a real tool of his. Even if he doesn't have outrageous length, he can still get extended. He can still just kind of toss you like that. getting a tackle off balance like that is so hard. Um, Especially because like he just knows how to set it up. Like he's acting like he's gonna bull rush it, and then he's gonna change his momentum, just turn his body. They're trying to chip him as well with a running back. None of this works, and he's just again kind of a bleached up pit bull ready to be unleashed. Uh, he's got some of my favorite motor in this class. He's just always hunting for that ball carrier, regardless of the play or the situation or how far away he is. I love this kid, man. I don't care how many views this video gets. I just had to talk about Luben. I very quickly fall in love with his game, and I really think that the average college football fan should gain an appreciation for this guy because you may have a lot of qualms, and I certainly do for some of the transfer portal era. But I do think the upside and the advantage of the transfer portal is that you have success stories like this one. There are players that just don't get opportunities at lower levels, and before the transfer portal were kind of stuck there, and things never worked out. But for a guy like Luben, who found opportunities to play at smaller programs, found success, and then moved up the ranks, that to me that is a success story and one of the reasons why the transfer portal does have value. So I really enjoyed his game. The fact that he's continued to grow and continue to be productive at every level he's played at is really awesome to see, and really excited to see what 2026 has in store for him. So thank you so much for watching today's episode. Had a ton of fun making this one. We'll be back next week with linebackers. So I think there's a very clear one we're going to talk about out of Notre Dame, and then we might dip our toes into an NFL player. There's a couple other things we can do, but linebacker was the first position I coached at the high school level, and I loved it. I really love that position, so I'm really excited to share it with you guys and break down some players. So get ready for linebackers week next week. Enjoy the weekend if you're watching this when it comes out, and we will see you next time. Take care.